folks, welcome to another edition of Luthier's Lair. This edition details part 3 of the Lula build, which is a Gazzbass Jazz Bass, yes. And in this episode we'll be getting the neck almost finished, we'll be veneering the headstock, and we'll be shaping the fingerboard and getting the LED holes drilled in it in an interesting way. Yes. So, on a side note, I managed, my God, I managed to stop drinking pineapple juice. So hard to do. Let's go and make some basses. So, yes. Yeah. So, traced out, we've got the centre line in here, traced out the neck and the headstock, and I decided to use my other template for this and just extend it a fret or two past. Of course, the neck pocket will not accommodate that because it gets wider at the bottom, but that can be sanded into place and shape. That's not a problem at all. So, I just wanted to mention before we fill the body with grain filler is I used a 24-inch dual action truss rods, and that of course will sit here. And the good thing about the 24-inch ones is this will just peek out of here and it will go right up to near the nut, because I don't want the nut to pop when I adjust the truss rod. You know, it goes near the nut, not at the nut. So, and that gives full neck stability and full neck adjustability. So that will live there, approximately, of course. And I'll use my truss rod channel cutting jig just to write that out, and we'll plonk that in there. But before we, you know, that's the first thing that's going to happen to it. So we'll get the truss rod channel cut. I know that this is perfectly square, so I can clamp that and just put the router up and down. It's a 5-minute job to do that. And then we can go to the bandsaw and rough cut it out and then sand it into shape. And of course, you know, this part has to be thinner than the neck. And the neck is 3/4 of an inch, you know, and the headstock usually is about 5/8. I think it's about 5/8. Pretty sure. Yeah, well, this one's half. Let me go and measure my real jazz bass neck. Yeah, it's about 0.6 of an inch. So I'll go for that. Solid maple, no problems. So I'm going to set that aside, then I'm going to do the grain fill on the body, and then while waiting for that to dry I can do this stuff. Awesome. So yeah, again, sorry about the noise, but back to the neck while we're waiting for the grain filler to dry on the front of the base there. Here's the piece of rosewood I'm planning to use that I just made up. Everything's cut to size, slot wise, straight edge of course, and it'll get bandsawed out. However, yeah, there's two lines here, one's for the nut and one's for something else. Well, that gap there is the same as that gap there. So I'm going to put this in kind of roughly in place so you can see what I'm talking about. There you go, see that? Right, okay. When I cut the depth here of the headstock, around here, it's going to go down, okay? I need to know where to stop because I want a nice scoop, smooth shape into the headstock, okay? So I'm going to stop at that line with the bandsaw or router or whatever I use to flatten this piece out, okay? Then once the fingerboard is attached to the neck, I'll know where to scoop out with my rotary table sander the amount of material that I need to get a nice smooth scoop. So that's why that line is there. And isn't that a fantastic piece of rosewood? Isn't that nice? Nice, yeah. Hard as a brick as well, rosewood. So all that needs to be done is, we'll probably fill that too a little bit, you know, and go from there. But that's awesome, you know. So that's just something to think about when you're doing a headstock neck, is that, actually with a headless neck too, because I usually do the scoop down into a bend well for a headless neck, and then have the head piece here, so you've got plenty of room to bend the strings there on harmonics and stuff like that. It's a nice effect. So yeah, shaping up. We've got something special as well on this bass for positioning of the LEDs. So it's going to be really sweet, really sweet. Cool. Let's go and do some truss rod channel routing by hand. Label, yes. Alright. Well, that's tight. Level. For that way, that's it. Here we go. Okay, truss rod channel cut. Nice and level. It's all flat. It's fantastic. Oh my god. Now it's time to clean up and get the neck out of here. Get the neck, not the heck, the neck out of here. Yes. Yes, so here's the neck with the truss rod channel cut. Now I'm just waiting on this grain sealer to dry before I buff it down on this. But here we are, and oh no, just joking. Yes, that's been bandsawed. That still fits in there, very nice. So good bandsaw job there. Easier said than done. Yeah, so the headstock shape's still there, and I know what it is, and I've still got my headstock template in there, so I can always size it up and I know where it goes to. So just prop that up and draw it again. Nice. Obviously needs to be flat sanded. There's a cavalry of the steps in here, and you know, let's sand this out, get it level, and we use this now as a template. Isn't that groovy? I'm still waiting for my transfer punches. Somebody who borrowed them. Somebody borrowed my transfer punches. My god. Anyway, so you know, just put in these lines. A line there, line there. Draw the centre line again. After I've flat sanded it, of course, because you know, when you sand, pencil lines tend to go away. Okay, so the neck is now rough bandsawed out, so it's time to get rid of all the teeth marks, the bandsaw, and sand it down to shape. I made the headstock a little thinner because I'm thinking of putting a nice laminate on the top, maybe a bit of veneer on the top, make it a different colour. Thinking about it, so we'll see. Notice the step there, of course that's where the fingerboard ends, and I'm going to sand out a scoop there once everything's glued together. So let's get to sanding, and of course everything's fitting nicely. Tight but nice. Cool. Oh, okay. Good. Let's go. Okay, it's about time we measure this at the nut here. I'm looking for 38mm. I'm hoping I'm still got a little bit to go, although it's getting shaped nicely. Awesome. 39.5, so I've got 1.5 mm to play with still. It needs a little shaping in here. There's still some wriggliness there, so it's going to taper down to 38 perfectly. I got the heel perfectly shaped. It's an extremely tight fit in the body. I'll show you that later. Sorry about all the noise with there's extraction on and everything to get rid of the sawdust, so I don't get lung problems, you know. So let's keep going. Let's get this nicely tapered in and absolutely smooth as a baby's butty. Yes, indeed. So you can see we're nearly tapered in there. I want to get this to exact dimensions. This leaves, there's about 0.5 mm that side, 0.5 mm the other side, so that's great. I'm going to stop there because I want to do some finish sanding on this. That's going to take off the 0.5 mm each side that I need. I'm just going to check the neck for taper and straightness along the edges and do some finish sanding on that too. And of course, if I pan out a little bit, you'll see the basic shape of the headstock, which is sufficiently different from Fender's, of course. And I'm really thinking I want to put a nice veneer on this. I'll see what the customer says, see what he thinks. Awesome. Okay, now is the moment of truth, my friends. A neck pocket here that I routed to spec, and a neck, sorry about that I made kinda to spec. Something a little special about it, which I'll go into in probably a later video actually. Now we're going to fit it. I'm trying not to get in your way here. Oh my god. I'm very happy. I'm so happy. Oh yeah, it goes right up. Oh my god, what a fit. That's nice. There's still a little bit to take off there, but that's good. Wow. Man. That's kinda fitting okay. I think it's fitting okay. Is it going to drop out if I do that? No. So it's a good neck pocket and a good neck fit. So my work is done here, guys. I think I'm gonna have to go start on the fingerboard. Yeah, we'll get that sized up and I'll just reconfirm with the customer, who I shall reveal at some point if I am disposed to do so, what LED pattern is going to be in the fingerboard. It's going to be awesome. That's why I haven't drilled the holes yet for the electrical connections to that. I just want to do this again. Oh God, See, I love it when it, oh, I love it when a plan comes together. Right? Wow. Kick-ass much? Anyway, awesome. Yes. So just finished fine sanding the headstock and the edges of the neck. This is now at the nut. It's now 38.6 millimeters, and that will be shaved down ever so slightly when the fingerboard goes on. It's leaving some bits of meat there that I can work with. But it occurred to me that, you know, like I said before, I'd like to put a veneer on this, cheers, on this headstock, and I do have a piece of beautifully engineered 10/1000ths of an inch walnut veneer that I can put over the top of that. And then when the fingerboard goes on to there and I cut that in, it's all going to blend in and look fantastic. And the good thing about this is that if I laser etch this down to the maple, it will look, the maple will stand out, because I'll clean up the maple from the char that the laser causes. It's just, I think this is going to be such a classy move. I'm going to go with it, and I'm going to glue that to that right now, clamp it, wait a couple of hours, and then cut all that out. Oh, superb. I hope it doesn't flake on me though when I'm cutting it. I've got to be very careful when I'm cutting it, so I have to have the sharpest knife possible. I will cut it proud, of course, and then I'll just, you know, file or sand the rest of it. Yes, yeah, that's what I'm going to do with that. And of course I've still got the holes that I can locate, so I can drill down with a good drill bit from the other side to indicate the holes there, and then we'll get the holes to size afterwards. It's going to be good. Yes. Awesome. Ew, what's happened? Oh dear. I think I should use it as a paddle. Squish water about. No, actually, we're going to cut that off. This is a nice, beautiful oak veneer we're putting on the top of the headstock here. It's going to look fantastic, okay? See? It's stuck. Engineered oak with glue on it, but I do put some nice tight bond on it just to make sure. Get that down, and we'll just carve around that. We've got a beautiful headstock, and we'll bevel the edges too, so you see lines in there. It'll look like bound. It'll look beautiful. That's a good trick to binding, actually. You don't really need to bind something. Put veneer on, cut it down smaller than you think, then stick on a veneer and bevel it. You can do it by hand. Dead easy. Just takes time, you know. You see that's stuck pretty firm now. And we're going to get to just carving that out. Beautiful. It'll look awesome. Brilliant. Now it's time to just, I cut around it just with a pair of scissors, because it is veneer. Very sharp scissors. And now it's time to just do this for a long time. Now with veneer, of course, you will get squeeze out, and you just go over it very gently, very gently. You can use certain angles, but you should keep to the sanding that you did do on the headstock. But you'll feel tackiness or roughness as you go over the pieces that need to be sanded down. You're still going to get a straight line, beautiful line. See that bit there? sticking up, sticking up. That's what you're going to be doing, okay? You're going to be doing, oh, cheers. You're going to be doing that, okay? Just going over it, relax, go over it. And what I suggest, really, is when you're doing this sort of thing, to a headstock or any fine sanding operation, remember and wipe use good high quality sandpaper and wipe it off if it piles up. Yeah, I recommend listening to your favourite tracks or just some nice music while you're doing this. It's very much like, look at that edge. Oh my god, it's beautiful. Look at that. Is that not fantastic? Think about the tuning pegs going through there, inscriptions, stuff like that. Oh, whoa, it's going to look nice. Yeah, just relax while you're doing it. Think of it as something that you can do while thinking about something else, but just make sure to be contoured correctly. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful experience. It really is. To get something into that shape, and you can see there, I got a lot to go through. So I might actually slip that a little bit off and just sand it down. Just sand it down. You can see there's a lot there still to go through. Use nice like 320 or 400 grit sandpaper to do it with, and you'll be cool, and you'll have a wonderful afternoon. And when you go home to your family, you'll be able to say, look at what I did. It's awesome. It's good fun. Real cool. Yes. Well, after finishing the headstock off there as much as I can, grain filled the laminate. No, it's not a laminate, it's actually a real veneer, oak veneer. It's grain filled and sanded, just waiting to be drilled out and stuff. I went ahead and rough shaped the fingerboard. I'd already cut the fret slots with my trusty Japanese fret saw itself. And the LEDs for this one, well, they're going to be blue, and I think 3mm in diameter instead of my usual 5. Very elegant. And the customer wants them between the D and the G string down here. So what I did was I sized it up on the base, ran some fake wires down to where the bridge position would be, to where the saddle would be, and up this way to where the tuning head would be, and I figured out where the D and the G are going to lie on this fretboard, which is cool. So I figured that out and drew a straight line there, allowing for the taper of the neck, and then marked the centre point of each fret that's going to get an LED. And of course the 12th fret will get 2 LEDs equidistant from the ends of the frets and equidistant apart. Going to be spiffy, so I marked that all up. I don't know if you could see the marks there, but the next thing is to just transfer punch or centre punch all these and drill out the holes to 3mm, which is what I'm going to be getting, is 3mm LEDs for this. So that's the next step. Step after that, of course, is to jig this up and route channels in the back of the fingerboard there for the wires and the LEDs to go in. And I'll use a Forstner bit, maybe a 5mm diameter Forstner bit, to countersink into the wood where the LEDs are going to lie. And I'll countersink in as much as I need to go so that the LEDs sit absolutely flush with the top of the fingerboard. So that's what we're going to do next here on Luthier's Lair. Yes. So I used my 3/32 of an inch transfer punch. Why did I use that? Well, 3/32 of an inch is, I think it's 0.937, wait a minute, I think it's 0.09, yeah, it's 0.09 of an inch. The LEDs are 3mm, that's the number that's on them, which is 0.09375 of an inch. So the punch mark is still a little smaller than the diameter of the LEDs. So getting a 3mm drill bit down there is going to be just absolute plain sailing. It's going to be beautiful. And that will get drilled out. And once that's all drilled out to the correct dimensions, I can get rid of all these pencil lines and give this thing a little sand and stuff. Get it into near its final configuration. It's good to get as much done as you possibly can to the neck and the fingerboard, bar fretting it, of course, before you glue it. So let's continue. Okay, kiddies, yeah, the LED holes have been drilled, and I'm hoping that that's going to be in the right place. It looks like it, in fact, because I left some meat on there, calculated the difference. The nut in there, you see that the neck still has about 1 millimetre to come off it in width. Now run the G string down there and the D down there. This will be in the middle of that, all the way down. There's a slight taper and there's meat there still, so that's good. It looks okay. Yes, I'll just zoom in a little bit. See, the 12th fret has the double LEDs, and if I quickly get, I'm completely out of blue 3mm LEDs, so I'm waiting for them to come in. This is a green one here, although it looks white right now because there's no power going to it. Right, and there we go there, and plop, sticks right in. Now of course it's recessed down. I've got to get a nice little Forstner bit here and recess this part in to this, the depth of the LED minus the depth of the fingerboard, which at this point is not 1/4 of an inch, it's a little less, that's like 0.22 of an inch, because this fretboard has a 16-inch radius already in it that I figured. So I want to get the depth of the can of the LED there to the lip and calculate the depth to each and individual LED holes, because it's on a curve and it's tapered. Then I get that depth and I subtract that from that, and then I get how much I need to countersink or recess the back of the fingerboard. Great fun, eh? And that's the way the cookie crumbles. When you have LEDs in the regular, I'll zoom out a bit. When you have LEDs in the regular dot marker places, it's really easy for the centre parts because you know that you've got that bang on 1/4 of an inch. But down here it's a little different, and you don't want LEDs popping in and out. I mean, you could use hot glue at the back. I usually use hot glue to hold the wires in place before I actually glue the fingerboard on. But you know, be funny if LEDs were put in that way, huh? That would hurt. Anyway, but you know, having it near the edge of the fingerboard, well, you got to pay special attention to the channel you're out here. It's going to be narrower anyway, and you know, just be careful. So everything's coming together quite well. You know, haven't decided what to do with this excess here yet. Most people usually just finish it off to the curve of the heel of the neck. I don't do that, probably because I'm special. Yeah. And we'll go from there. Yes. Well, indeed, that's about it for part 3. Yeah, part 4 will probably be getting all the mechanical bits done, everything done, ready for spraying, I would guess. And then there's probably going to be a huge gap between part 4 and part 5, because guess what I'll be doing? I'll be waiting. But I have other projects that I can stick up there for you to see. Sorry about the introduction to this episode. It's very early in the morning when I record the intro and outro to these videos. I do that last, so I just felt like doing that anyway. So, until next time, once again, stay safe, be good, and catch you next time. Thanks again, folks, for watching. Cheers. Bye-bye.